I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat, hands clutching my throat like I was choking. It was just a dream. That's what I kept telling myself. But the pain in my neck felt real, like something had been stretched, like I had been hanged and survived. In the dream, my neck had stretched, impossibly long, like an eel gliding through the dark. I floated weightless, led by my own head through the night, past sliding doors and into the garden. That's where I saw them. My husband and a girl, no older than 20. She giggled at something he whispered. He brushed her cheek the way he used to brush mine. And then they kissed, bold and unashamed. Except I was there, or at least my head was. And when he noticed it, my face, my floating head, he screamed and swung his katana. A blur of silver flashed, and I woke up. I sat there, knees drawn to my chest, watching him sleep. His breath was slow, steady, undisturbed, like he hadn't just appeared in my nightmare with another woman. The image still burned behind my eyes. A nightmare, I told myself. A trick of the mind. But deep down, I knew better. That wasn't a dream, it was a warning. In the days that followed, I began to see it. The scent of strange incense on his robes, not the kind I burned for the altar or wore on my sleeves. It lingered, delicate and wrong. One evening, folding his inner kimono, I noticed a faint red smear along the collar. At first, I thought it was crushed plum blossom, but when I touched it, it smeared Benny, lip dye, the kind worn by young courtesans. He laughed when I asked.
Probably from the crowd by the river. Some drunk girl stumbled too close.
But I knew. No one touches a magistrate's robes, not by accident. When I confronted him, he smiled. Not with guilt, but with calm dismissal.
Your mind is too wild. You'll drive yourself mad with superstition. You'll make yourself sick.
Later, I overheard him whispering to his mother, saying I was losing my balance, that I might need rest. She pulled me aside in the garden days later, her hand cold on my wrist.
You mustn't let jealousy consume you. Wear your crimson kimono again. Put on makeup the way he used to like.
I wanted to scream. I wanted to tear my head from my shoulders and fling it at the wall. But I didn't. I bowed. I smiled. I poured tea like a good wife. And every night I dreamed of my neck growing longer, slithering through darkness, creeping toward truth. No one believed me. Not the other women at the market, not the shrine maiden I sought for advice. They all spun the same tale, that I was unstable, that I was unraveling. And he was the victim of a clingy, insecure wife. Then came the night. He was unusually tender. He brought me tea himself, said it was a calming blend from Kyoto.
For your nerves.
He smiled. I should have known. The taste was bitter, unfamiliar, but I drank it anyway, because I still wanted to believe him. I collapsed near the hallway, and from the corner of my fading vision, I saw him, standing over me, watching, then darkness. When I awoke, I couldn't move. My arms hung useless, my throat burned. From rope. He had strung me up from the ceiling beam. My body swayed gently, helplessly. I could hear him moving in the other room, opening jars, striking flint. The scent of lantern oil filled the air. He was setting the house on fire. The flames moved quickly, licking through the shoji walls, devouring everything we built. Smoke poured in, thick and choking. My lungs heaved, but the noose bit deeper. I should have died, but I didn't. Not yet. In that moment between fire and breath, I felt something rise in me. A pull, a pressure. My spine cracked, my throat expanded, my neck stretched. It didn't stop, longer and longer. Until my feet touched the floor again, though I still hung. Until the rope no longer choked me, only the memory of it. Drifting upward, my neck snaking through the fire like a silk banner of death. I slipped out of the burning frame, silent and weightless, into the cold night. Later, the neighbors whispered. They said they saw something rise from the fire. A woman's head, a twisting neck, a floating curse. They gave it a name, Rokurakubi. I became a breath beneath the door, a shadow above the futon, a nightmare woven into tatami. I whispered to unfaithful men. I curled my neck through their walls. I watched them shatter one by one. But the man I was looking for, he had vanished. Until that night, I found him in a new town, a new house, a new wife, pregnant. He still wore that smug, gentle face, the one he used when lying, when controlling. He had rebuilt his life. But I had not forgotten. That night, I slipped through the floorboards of their home. She lay asleep beside him, her belly full. He snored softly, unaware. I hovered above him, my neck stretched like a vine, my face inches from his. His eyes opened, and he screamed. He lunged for the katana beneath the futon, the same katana he once threatened me with in silence. He swung, steel met phantom flesh. My head fell to the tatami with a soft thud. Then it turned and smiled, because you cannot kill what you've already murdered. The woman stirred beside him.
What's happening?
My neck began to coil. Around his legs, his waist, his arms, his throat. It slithered tight and then it rotted. Flesh decayed on contact, black veins blooming beneath his skin. His body shuddered. The face on the floor, mine, began to crack. The eyes clouded, the skin peeled, the mouth opened. I looked at them both, his frozen terror, her rising scream, and whispered, I will always come back, because my neck still stretches, and the longer it grows, the closer I get, and you cannot escape your karma.
The moment I saw him, time seemed to stop. There was only one thought in my mind. This is my destiny. A loud, annoying scream snapped me back to reality. My destiny was being chased by the police. I had to help him escape.
You crazy woman! Why did you suddenly run into the street and block our way? Do you even know we're on an important mission?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Good thing he managed to get away. Otherwise, I might have accidentally stomped on that officer's face a few more times. Since I was little, I've always had a special fascination with serial killers and shocking murder cases. I saw them as extraordinary people rather than just criminals. And the man I met this morning, he was the perfect joker I had been searching for. Strong, reckless, but also deeply lonely. I hacked into the state police security system, and sure enough, I found my man. Jason, 25 years old, a record of drug dealing, assault, theft, a high-priority surveillance target. Just as I was about to dig deeper into his information, he appeared on the latest news broadcast.
I just wanted to kill. If I could do it all over again, I'd still crush that stupid woman and turn her into spaghetti sauce under my car tires.
I found him a little late, but that's okay. At least he'll be staying in one place for now. Wait for me, Jason. I'll be the one to save you. I believe this world is full of people who deserve to die, and someone like Jason is simply cleaning up the useless ones. I shared my thoughts on social media, along with details about Jason's tragic past, his abusive parents, his suffering, and to my surprise, many people supported me. Every day, I sent letters to Jason in prison, along with photos of my hands, carved with his name, Jason. I truly believed that if Jason chose me instead of those other women, he wouldn't have to suffer anymore. He wouldn't need to kill to ease his rage, because I would give him everything, even my soul. After more than a month of writing letters, I finally received a response from the prison warden. Jason wanted to see me. Standing in front of the prison visitation room, my heart pounded with excitement. I was about to meet my man. Jason sat there arrogantly behind the thick bulletproof glass, the tattoo of a clown's grin stretching across his face, mocking the world. I couldn't control my overwhelming joy. I instinctively dropped to my knees before him. Jason, it's me, Evelyn.
Yeah, I know. You're pretty bold. Carving my name into your skin like that. Did it hurt?
Do you like it?
So if I say I like it, you won't feel the pain anymore? Then what if I say I want to get the hell out of this prison? Would you help me?
Of course. I've already prepared everything. I'm just waiting to see if you have the guts to go through with it.
You're interesting. Maybe we can take this further.
Ever since Jason was arrested, I had been carefully planning his escape. There was no way I would let my man rot away and face the death penalty so easily. But for this plan to work, I needed his cooperation and his fearlessness. That night, I posted a tweet calling on Jason's fan club to dress up as Harley Quinn and cause chaos near the prison. Meanwhile, I arranged for an ambulance to be on standby. During the commotion, we would slip inside and smuggle Jason out under the guise of a suicide emergency. The ambulance driver was a veteran member of Jason's fan club. She was the one who provided me with a microblade, but I still had to double-check her ID. Harley Quinn real?
That's right, let's go get our Joker.
Everything went according to plan. We entered the prison without a hitch. Time to pick up our Joker. I saw him again. Even though I had expected him to be injured, seeing him unconscious on the stretcher still made my heart ache. Only one person can come in the ambulance. It's tight inside. We need space for the patient to breathe. With Jason loaded into the ambulance and only one prison guard accompanying us, we started our escape. You're tougher than I thought. That cut was less than an inch from your artery.
Gotta be crazy enough if you want people to go crazy for me.
I was still pondering Jason's cryptic words when... bang! A gunshot shattered the air. The ambulance screeched to a sudden stop, throwing me off balance. The prison guard took the bullet and collapsed right before my eyes. I had planned to take care of him quietly, but my so-called ally turned out to be way more unhinged than I expected. And the craziest part? She had the audacity to kiss Jason right in front of me. Her eyes gleamed with a twisted challenge, as if to say she was the real Harley Quinn, the only one worthy of standing beside Joker. My mind exploded in rage. I wanted to kill that woman right there and then.
You're being naughty, sweetheart. You want to fight my Harley?
The lack of oxygen made my head spin. I couldn't even process his words properly. Before I knew it, I was shoved violently out of the ambulance. Was he mad at me? Just because I was jealous of that fake Harley Quinn? Jason, I'm sorry. I'll listen to you. I swear, just don't leave me. I begged, desperate, but Jason didn't care. After everything I had done for him, he still saw me as nothing but prey. Panic surged through me as I lunged toward the road. The ambulance swerved, nearly grazing my back like the blade of a guillotine. I gasped, whipping my head around. The dark forest stretched endlessly around me, silent, empty. It was just me and those two bloodthirsty killers. I was going to die, to be nothing more than spaghetti sauce under Jason's wheels. But then, bang, bang, bang! A barrage of gunfire erupted, forcing the two murderers to retreat. Police sirens screamed through the air. Jason and his new Harley had no choice but to run. My body went limp. My heart pounded so violently it hurt. I couldn't even tell what I was feeling anymore. Pain, excitement, satisfaction, or maybe emptiness? My Joker. He just vanished before my eyes.
Her mental state is extremely unstable. She frequently engages in self-harm and experiences hallucinations. For now, she needs to stay in the hospital.
I am Harley Quinn. Only Joker is worthy of me.
I am Julia. I have been shunned by the entire village because of the ugly scar on my face. I lived with Marcus, a blind man with a pure heart. But sometimes I wondered, if Marcus could see my ugly face, would he still love me? Though my heart was filled with worries, I still loved Marcus dearly. Recently, couples in the village had been mysteriously disappearing. The villagers believed that our love was a curse that brought misfortune upon them. Whenever we went out, they would point fingers and curse at us. One furious couple even shouted.
Go away, you cursed pair!
Overwhelmed by anger, I picked up a small stone and threw it back at them. The murmurs and gossip grew fiercer. But the next day, that couple suddenly went missing. The villagers immediately accused us of being the culprits. We were dragged into the street and pelted with stones. I cried and tried to prove my innocence, but the villagers ignored me. Suddenly, the village chief appeared. He calmed the crowd, urging them to continue searching for the missing couple. The villagers reluctantly dispersed. The chief whispered to us.
Poor souls, go to the statue of Cupid and pray sincerely. He will take pity on you and grant you blessings.
We thanked the chief and followed his advice. We were praying before Cupid's statue, but a voice suddenly echoed.
Who is praying here? Cupid cannot turn a blind eye to unfortunate love. Oh, you pitiful souls, follow me.
Cupid led us to his castle, where we were welcomed with a feast. Marcus joyfully drank a glass of wine. For a brief moment, I saw his eyes come to life.
I can see the light. Is that you, Julia?
His joyful expressions suddenly turned to horror. I didn't understand what was happening, but I knew at that moment Marcus had seen my ugly appearance. Shame overwhelmed me. Marcus's eyes returned to their usual blindness, but his face twisted in pain.
That was the temporary effect of the divine wine. Don't dwell on it. Now tell me your wishes.
I immediately begged Cupid to bless us with eternal love so that the villagers would accept us as normal people.
I wish to share my desire in private.
Unable to bear the worry in my heart, I followed them and eavesdropped from behind a wall.
Make me able to see, I'm begging you.
Very well, but on one condition. You must offer a heart in exchange.
Marcus fell silent, but his silence was like a deafening explosion in my heart. After the wine feast, we returned home.
I am Marcus. A cruel illness stole the light from my eyes. If I regained my sight, could I find a prettier girl? But Julia had cared for me all this time. How could I betray her? Suddenly, I heard the village chief's voice.
Is something troubling you, young man?
I poured out my heart to him. The chief whispered.
True love demands sacrifice. Stop hesitating. Take her heart in exchange for your sight. Your life will be happier.
I stood over Julia's bed, listening to her steady breaths. She was deep asleep. Julia's tearful voice broke the silence.
Marcus, this breaks my heart. You don't have to dirty your hands.
She pressed the blade through her own chest.
Be happy. Take my heart for your eyes.
Oh no, what had I done? Julia was the one who loved me most in this world, and yet I had betrayed her. No, I had to beg Cupid to save her. Cupid, where are you? I called out, but there was no answer, only a chilling silence. I groped in the darkness and my hand touched something rough, shaped like wings. I had heard that Cupid had wings, but if the wings were here, where was Cupid? Suddenly, a voice rang out.
Have you brought the heart?
My hands trembled as I held Julia's heart. Her heart was snatched away. Is that you, Cupid? Please return her heart and bring her back to life. I no longer want my sight.
There is no Cupid here, you naive fools.
A stinging pain burned my cheek as I trembled in fear. What do you mean?
I need 100 hearts from loving couples to create the elixir of immortality. You were so easy to deceive. The village chief received a hefty sum for luring couples like you here.
I was devastated. It was all a scam. I couldn't hold back my tears. Julia was dead because of my impulsive trust in that fraud and the village chief.
Now your hearts belong to me.
The weight of the ring on my finger feels like a shackle. My wife, sweet and kind, sleeps soundly beside me, her breathing steady, unaware of the cold emptiness in my heart. I stare at the window, my mind consumed by the dreams of him, Nosferatu. His presence haunts me, lurking in the edges of my vision, whispering to me in my sleep. His elongated fingers trace my skin in the dark recesses of my mind, leaving trails of ice and fire. I wake up trembling, gasping, craving something nameless and forbidden. Then came the letter. Herr Nock, my employer, has ordered me to travel to Transylvania to finalize a sale with Count Orlok. The townspeople recoil at the mention of his name. Superstition grips them, their whispers filled with fear. Yet deep within, I feel something else. Anticipation, as if I am meant to go to him. The journey is long, and as I cross into his domain, the world itself seems to change. The Carpathians loom like jagged teeth, and the wind howls like a chorus of lamenting souls. When I arrive at the castle, its towering presence fills me with dread and longing. The carriage driver refuses to go further. I step alone into the shadows. He is waiting. Count Orlok, Nosferatu, is unlike anything I have ever seen. His gaunt frame, his hollow eyes, the way the candlelight barely clings to his form.
You have come.
He says, his voice dry as withered leaves. Dinner is served, though I barely touch it. My hands tremble. My skin prickles under his unblinking gaze. I am trying to keep up appearances, to act as though I am here only for business. Then, in a moment of clumsiness, my knife slips. A thin red line blossoms on my finger. Silence. Nosferatu moves with terrifying speed. His clawed hand clasps my wrist, lifting my bleeding finger to his lips. A shudder courses through me, not of fear, but of something deeper, something I dare not name. His tongue grazes my wound, and a dizzying euphoria crashes over me. The world distorts. The candlelight flickers, and my breath hitches. He looks at me with something unreadable, something ancient.
You are bound to me.
I don't resist. That night, he comes to me. The walls seem to pulse, the air thick with something unseen. He speaks of my pain, of the chains that bind me. He sees through the facade, through the forced smiles and silent suffering.
You have always belonged to the night.
He whispers, his lips grazing my chest. When his fangs pierce my skin, I do not scream. I wake in my chamber, my body feverish, my mind altered. The puncture wounds on my neck pulse with a dark hunger. I am no longer the man I was, but I must return. Back in Wisburg, I play the role of the dutiful husband. My wife watches me with quiet concern. She senses the shift in me. We argue. She pleads for me to hold her, to touch her the way a husband should. But I recoil. Every night I turn away from her, offering only silence in return. My hands are cold. My heart no longer beats the same. And at night, I hear his voice calling me, his shadow stretching long against my walls. Then, the plague comes. Death spreads through Wisburg like wildfire. The townsfolk whisper of a curse, of Nosferatu's wrath. They blame me. They claim I brought this darkness home. The sickness festers, leaving hollowed bodies and empty homes in its wake.
The vampire demands a sacrifice, a pure soul, untouched, to appease him.
They said to offer a virgin girl. A strange sensation rises within me, a mixture of discomfort and hope. I do not understand it, but it coils deep in my chest, tightening with every whispered word. The night of reckoning arrives. I stand before the window, shielding her from their condemning hands. Then, he comes. Nosferatu emerges from the shadows, towering, spectral. His eyes lock onto mine, unreadable, eternal. My wife clings to me, trembling, believing she is the one he wants. But he does not look at her. He looks at me. I stagger back, the realization slamming into my chest like ice. It was never her. It was always me. His clawed hand extends. An invitation. A promise.
Your passion is bound to me.
Terror and longing wage war within me. The life I knew, the mask I wore, the expectations that bound me, all of it unravels. I was never meant for this world. I was meant for him. And so, I step forward. Nosferatu's arms close around me, his embrace colder than death, and yet, I have never felt more alive. As dawn breaks over Wisburg, I vanish into the shadows, leaving behind only whispers of a love never meant to exist in the light.
I married him quickly. We met exactly 100 days ago. A whirlwind romance, passionate and intoxicating. Gabe swept me off my feet with candlelit dinners, spontaneous weekend getaways, and whispered promises under the moonlight. Then, one evening, he got down on one knee. I should have been hesitant. We barely knew each other. But when he slipped the ring onto my finger, I said yes without a second thought. Now, here we were, floating in the middle of the ocean on a luxurious private yacht, basking in the glow of our honeymoon. Just the two of us. Gabe poured another glass of wine, his fingers grazing mine as he handed it over.
To us.
I smiled and clinked my glass against his. We talked for hours, about dreams, childhood memories, random stories about life. His laughter was warm, his gaze full of love. Then, as the conversation lulled, he leaned in.
You know, we should talk about finances.
He said casually. I tilted my head. Why?
Well, we're married now. We should be open about everything, right?
That made sense. Couples should share everything. Bank accounts, properties, even insurance policies. Still, something about the way he asked made my stomach twist. He reached for my hand.
Do you have life insurance?
I hesitated, just for a second. Then, I answered. Of course I did. I had a sizable policy from my job. A good one. Gabe pulled out his phone and looked up insurance details. His thumb traced slow, deliberate circles on my wrist.
That's a wise choice. I'd hate for anything to happen to you.
I laughed nervously, brushing it off. Love is trust, right? That night, I expected our first night together as husband and wife to be passionate. But after dinner, after another glass of wine, my eyelids grew unbearably heavy. I barely remembered climbing into bed. The gentle rocking of the yacht should have lulled me into a peaceful sleep. But instead, I felt like I was sinking. I could hear Gabe's voice in my ear.
Sleep tight, my love.
Then, nothing. I woke up groggy. My limbs were heavy, my head foggy, as if I had run a marathon in my sleep. Gabe was already up, preparing the diving gear.
Good morning, sleepyhead. Are you ready for our first dive together?
I hesitated. I had never gone diving before. The thought of being deep underwater, where the surface was just a distant shimmer, made me uneasy. But Gabe was so excited, and I wanted to be the wife he deserved. I guess, I said, forcing a smile. He beamed.
Don't worry, I'll be right behind you.
There was no diving instructor. No one else on board. Just us. Don't we have a diving instructor?
I wanted this moment to be just ours.
That should have made me feel special. Instead, I felt a strange, creeping sense of unease. But love is trust, right? As I turned away to change into my wetsuit, I caught a glimpse of Gabe out of the corner of my eye. He was messing with the oxygen tank. I froze. What are you doing? He glanced up, his expression smooth, calm.
Your tank had a leak. I'm switching it out for another one.
I nodded slowly. It made sense, didn't it? Maybe I was just overthinking things. The moment we plunged into the water, all my fears melted away. The world below was breathtaking. Schools of fish swirled around us in shimmering clouds. Coral reefs stretched endlessly, swaying gently with the current. It was like an alien world, untouched, silent, beautiful. Gabe swam beside me, watching me with a smile behind his mask. For the first time since waking up, I felt safe. Then, without warning, he reached behind me and unfastened my oxygen tank. It took me a second to realize what had happened. One moment, I was breathing. The next, nothing. Panic surged through me. I clawed at my regulator, desperate to shove it back into my mouth. But my fingers fumbled. My lungs screamed for air. Gabe just hovered there, watching me. Waiting. He wasn't going to save me. He had been planning this. I lunged at him, grabbing his wetsuit, my nails digging into his arms, but he twisted away faster than me, stronger. I kicked, trying to chase him, but my body was slowing down. Oxygen deprivation. Black spots bloomed in my vision. My arms felt like lead. Gabe was swimming backward, watching me struggle. His eyes held no love, no regret, just cold detachment. Then he turned and swam away, fading light. I reached out for him, my fingers grazing the water where he had been. I kicked, I thrashed, I tried to move toward the surface, but I was sinking. I should have waited longer. I should have taken my time, should have questioned the man who loved me too fast, too intensely. But love makes us blind. The sunlight above me grew fainter, more distant. Gabe was gone, and I was alone.
They called me a hero, the one who slayed the Minotaur, who freed Athens from its nightmare. But titles fade, cheers turn into echoes, and in the silence of the night, the only thing left was a name I had tried so hard to forget. In my dreams, Ariadne stood alone on the cliffside of Naxos, where I had left her. Her eyes were hollow, denied sleep since the moment my ship disappeared. In her hand, she held the red thread, the same thread that once led me out of the labyrinth. Only now, it was soaked in blood. And next to her feet lay the severed head of the Minotaur. Its dull eyes stared straight at me, full of the same blame I saw in hers. I woke up gasping, like a man who had nearly drowned. There was a fresh cut on my hand, and it burned faintly, always in the same place, as if something had wrapped tightly around it during the night. At first, I told myself it was nothing, just a phantom pain from old battles. The next morning I sat among nobles pretending everything was fine. I lifted my goblet with trembling hands, praying the wine would still them. But the moment I drank, something sharp slid down my throat. I coughed, gagged, blood spilled from my mouth. In the middle of the crimson pool on the table lay a single red thread, thin and glinting. Then came the screams. I ran toward the courtyard without thinking. The bloody scene before me left me frozen in place. Queen Phaedra's body hung still from the olive tree, red thread holding her like a broken marionette, swaying softly in the wind. Around her, guards and servants lay scattered. Their throats were slashed open, clean and silent, as if the thread had kissed them goodbye. I ran. I sprinted through the palace halls, my mind blank with terror. But when I burst into my chambers, everything stopped. Lying on the floor was the Minotaur's head. Again, its vacant eyes locked onto mine, as if it had been waiting. That night, the blood moon gleamed in the sky over Athens, casting everything in a deep, red glow. I couldn't sleep. My chest felt heavy, each breath sharp and tight, as if something unseen was pressing down on me. Then the pain came. I jolted upright to find a thin red thread wrapped tightly around my wrist. Without warning, the thread pulled tight, as if guiding me towards something I could neither see nor resist. I grabbed my sword and walked through the silent halls, where even the air felt still and watching. The thread led me beyond the palace walls, into the forest that loomed behind the gardens. There, in the heart of the woods, the labyrinth had returned. And it wanted me back. I stepped into the labyrinth. The air inside was cold and heavy. The thread pulled harder, guiding me through narrow, shadowy turns. And at last, it brought me to the heart of the labyrinth. Ariadne was waiting there, alone in the dark at the center. Her head was bowed, her hair soaked and clinging to her face like seaweed. Her skin looked drained of color, pale and cracked like melted wax. In her hand, the thread was still stretched between us, resting gently in her hand. When she looked up, her voice was barely a whisper.
You came back.
My thoughts tangled with questions. Should I confront her, or beg for her forgiveness for what I had done all those years ago? Ariadne finally spoke, her voice cutting through the silence.
You abandoned me, left me to rot in loneliness. I gave you everything I had, and you disappeared without even a goodbye.
Then she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around me. Her skin was freezing. The thread began to move again, slithering up my arms, around my chest, tightening with every breath. I tried to pull away, but I couldn't. Ariadne began to change. Her face twisted, contorted into something monstrous. Horns split through her skull. Her mouth stretched open far too wide.
You took everything from me. Now, the labyrinth takes you forever.
Right before the dark swallowed me whole, I realized the thread that saved me now leads me to my end. Helen, that's enough. How long are you going to keep up this boring joke?
Knock, knock, knock.
Helen, the woman I'd loved and lived with for 3 years, looked like a stranger. Her face was empty, her eyes hollow, like a lifeless mask. What do you want? My voice cracked, a mix of anger and fear. Helen didn't answer. She just stared at me and spoke.
Knock, knock, knock.
Those 3 words, repeated in a cold, steady rhythm, sent chills down my spine. I couldn't take it anymore. Grabbing my pillow and blanket, I left the suffocating room. This was the 4th night in a row she'd woken me up at exactly 3:27 a.m. I texted an old friend from college, now a psychologist, explaining the strange things happening to Helen. His reply shocked me. Had something really happened to Helen? I decided to tell him everything, holding nothing back. Everything began 4 days ago. We were sleeping together as usual when Helen shook me awake. At exactly 3:27 a.m., she started this strange knock, knock, knock game. I thought she'd just woken up from a bad dream and wanted me to comfort her. So, half asleep, I played along. Who's there? Is it my beloved Helen?
It's not me, so don't open the door.
After her cryptic reply, Helen fell asleep as if nothing happened. The next morning she seemed normal, but at 3:27 a.m., she woke up and repeated it all. The response from my friend left me stunned. I tried to justify it, but his reply was firm, almost certain. I couldn't deny it anymore. In that moment, my trust in Helen began to waver. I shut my laptop and tried to get some rest, but those doubts had already taken root, digging deeper into my mind. In the end, curiosity and doubt won. Helen's sudden appearance unsettled me, but her blank expression only fueled my irritation. I actually set up a hidden camera in the house to spy on my girlfriend. Helen and I were in a cold war. She didn't bother to explain or apologize. That night I couldn't sleep. My nerves were on edge, my heartbeat slowing, steadying, sinking with each tick of the clock. I could almost predict the exact moment it would hit 3:27 a.m. And then, as if caught in an endless, suffocating loop, it all happened again. My patience with Helen had reached its limit. This time, I decided to act. I was going to make her stop. I tied Helen to the bed, gagging her with a strip of cloth. I wanted to see if, without my response, without being able to continue her game, she could just shut up and sleep like a normal person. The house was eerily quiet, except for the steady ticking of the clock. I couldn't sleep, so I decided to review the footage from my hidden camera. What I saw made my blood run cold. The Helen in the recordings was unrecognizable. She looked like Helen, but her movements were robotic, stiff, lifeless, like a puppet with its strings being pulled. I had to admit it. Helen was no longer Helen. Or worse, she might not even be human anymore. Suddenly, 3 heavy knocks shattered the silence. Knock, knock, knock. Then a voice, unmistakably hers, called out from behind the door.
Eddie, it's me, Helen.
Her voice was so real. Too real. I checked the front door camera, needing to confirm if it was really her. And there she was. Helen, the real Helen, crying and begging for me to let her in.
Eddie, please, let me in. That thing in there. It's the imposter.
My whole body trembled. If she was outside, then what was lying in my bed? I turned around and froze. Helen, or rather the thing pretending to be her, was standing just a few steps away, staring at me with empty eyes. I forced myself to stay calm. My friend had sent me some tools to prepare for this. Among them was a high-frequency audio file, which I quickly played. It worked. I had identified my enemy as an alternate, so a powerful UV flashlight would be useful. The alternate was trying to stop me from opening the door, and it could no longer maintain Helen's form. It appeared before me with a grotesque, twisted body. As the light from the flashlight hit it, its body distorted, its features melting into a blurry mass. It was no longer Helen. It had turned into a flickering white shadow. I remembered what my friend had told me. Between 3 and 4 a.m., the boundary between worlds is thinnest. I had to bring the real Helen back before it was too late. The door swung open as if revealing another dimension. Blinding light and a cacophony of chaotic sounds rushed at me. overwhelming my senses and leaving me dizzy. I held my breath, anxiously staring at the door, waiting for what would come next. Finally, I let out a sigh of relief. My Helen was back.
Eddie!
Helen, I missed you so much.
I miss you too.
You're great, but I don't date women over 25. Sorry, sweetie.
When the news broke about Rio's breakup with his 25-year-old model girlfriend, I didn't think much of it. It was just another headline in the endless cycle of celebrity drama. But now here I am, sitting beside him at a bar that smells like expensive perfume and ambition, his eyes locked on me like I'm the most fascinating thing he's seen all night.
Oh, so tomorrow's your birthday?
He says, his voice smooth as silk.
25, huh? Tonight's your last night at 24. Let's make it unforgettable.
I'm not the kind of girl who belongs in places like this. My friend dragged me along as a +1, and I've spent most of the evening feeling out of place in my borrowed dress. But here's Rio, an S-tier celebrity, his smile dazzling under the lowlights, choosing me. When he invites me back to his suite, I don't even hesitate. The room is breathtaking, a palace of glass and gold perched high above the city. Rio pours us champagne, and the tension between us crackles. Everything about him seems surreal. His perfect hair, his gleaming smile, the way he moves like he owns not just the room, but the world. That's when I noticed it. A strand of his hair fell loose as he ran a hand through it. But instead of landing softly on his shoulder or the floor, the strand shimmered, then hardened into pure gold. My breath caught.
You're staring.
He teased, leaning closer.
It's a little gift of mine.
Your hair?
Pure gold.
He interrupted, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I laughed nervously, but the strangeness only deepened. He reached for a nail clipper, trimming one of his manicured nails. The clipping hit the glass coffee table with a metallic plink. A sliver of solid gold. I froze.
Oh, that's not all,
he said, grinning like a magician about to reveal his next trick. He tilted his head back and casually flicked his nose. He placed the shimmering pearl into my hand. Is this real? I stammered, barely able to process what I was seeing.
Real as you and me,
he replied, leaning back into the plush sofa.
And if you make me happy tonight, all of it is yours. Every strand, every clipping, every pearl.
As the night went on, gold and jewels seemed to pour out of him. Quite literally. Every touch, every kiss, every moment sent shimmering treasures scattering across the room. By midnight, the floor was littered with riches. And then it happened. Rio stumbled, catching himself on the edge of a table. A sharp gasp escaped his lips as a golden gash split across his palm. But instead of blood, molten gold began to drip from the wound, pooling onto the carpet. Oh my God, I breathed, rushing to him.
It's fine. Just grab a cloth or something.
I pressed a towel to his hand, my heart pounding. The golden liquid was warm, almost alive as it seeped through the fabric. His breathing was shallow, his skin pale, but still he smiled at me. For a brief moment, I felt a strange pang of sympathy. By the time we collapse into bed, I fall asleep in his arms, the strange warmth of his body lulling me into a dreamless void. Morning came too soon. I woke to the soft hum of city traffic and the blinding sunlight streaming through the massive windows. Rio was already dressed, standing at the edge of the bed.
Happy birthday,
he said, his smile as dazzling as ever. "Thank you," but his next words turned that warmth to ice.
This has been fun, but I don't date women over 25.
"What?"
You're great, really, but I have standards.
Anger bubbled in my chest. After everything, after last night, this was how he saw me. Just another disposable toy.
You can take all the gold and pearls.
He added, gesturing to the glittering mess on the floor.
Consider it your parting gift.
I stared at him, my mind racing. He was so smug, so sure of himself, so untouchable. My eyes landed on the corkscrew on the bedside table. Without thinking, I grabbed it and lunged. The moment the corkscrew pierced his stomach, his eyes widened in shock. But instead of blood, a torrent of gold and jewels erupted from the wound, spraying across the room like a macabre fountain. He collapsed to the floor, gasping, as the treasures kept pouring out. He falls to his knees, his hands grasping at the wound as more and more spills out. His skin cracks like porcelain, and molten gold begins to seep through the fissures.
You fool,
he gasps, his voice gurgling. I stumble back, horrified. The golden river slows, then stops, leaving Rio motionless on the floor. For one fleeting moment, I wonder if I should take the gold and run. But then the gold began to change. The shimmering strands darkened, the pearls cracking and oozing. The smell hit me first, metallic and sharp, like rust and decay. "No," I whispered, stumbling back. The gold liquefied, pooling into dark red puddles. The pearls dissolved into chunks of raw, congealed flesh. The room reeked of blood, hot, sticky and overwhelming. I turned to Rio, but he was no longer the godlike figure from last night. His body was collapsing in on itself, his golden sheen fading into a grotesque mess of sinew and viscera. My hands and clothes were stained with his blood. Real blood now, not gold. The riches he had promised me had turned into a nightmare.
That morning, I was feeding the horses, as I always did. Then, from the village center, a noise broke through the quiet, shouting, sharp and urgent, laced with tension I could feel in my bones. I dropped the feed basket and ran. What I saw at the sacred stone took the breath from my lungs. A man, clearly not from any tribe I knew, knelt in the dirt with his wrists bound tightly and dried blood marking the side of his face, while my people surrounded him like wolves torn between fear and the instinct to strike. My father, the chief, had already made his judgment. The stranger was a harbinger of misfortune, and he would be sacrificed to calm the spirits. But when his eyes met mine, something in me shifted. There was no anger in them, no pride or hate, only fear, bare, and deeply human, the kind that speaks beyond words. In that silent moment, I saw a plea I couldn't ignore. So I turned to my father, approached him quietly and whispered, asking him to spare the man's life. My father considered me for a long moment, then turned back to the man.
Because my daughter is merciful, your life will be spared. Remember this gift.
I approached the man and untied his ropes, my hands trembling slightly as I did so. I didn't know then that this simple act of kindness would become the thread that unraveled everything I believed to be safe. His name was Edmund. In the days that followed, I visited him in secret. He was weakened by injury and hunger, so I brought him food, healing herbs, and simply sat with him when he needed nothing but quiet company. Slowly, as trust began to form, he told me about his world, a place beyond the sea, where cities glowed through the night and people lived not under the rule of spirits or chiefs, but free, each person carving their own path. He placed a small, time-worn compass into my hand, saying it had always pointed him toward hope. Then, with a tenderness that caught me off guard, he looked at me and called me his wild queen. It was a name that unsettled and intrigued me all at once. And when he asked me to leave with him, to cross the ocean and see that world for myself, I felt a sudden thrill rise within me. The old, buried longing for something more than duty and tradition. Even so, I turned him down. My heart wasn't ready to part with the only home I had ever known. That changed the day my father announced my marriage to Nakoma, an elder from an allied tribe. I had never met him. I was told he was strong, wise, and a valuable alliance for peace. But none of that mattered to the part of me that wanted to be seen. Not as a daughter or a bride, but as myself. I didn't want a life chosen for me, wrapped in expectation and silence. So I went to Edmund, and for the first time I said yes. We left in the dark, with only the compass and the sound of waves for company. As the shoreline faded, I told myself I wasn't running. I was choosing. I believed that somewhere out there, beyond the sea, freedom was waiting. At first, everything dazzled me. England was louder, faster, stranger than I'd ever imagined. There were buildings that reached into the clouds, voices that echoed in alleys, and colors I couldn't name. But the stairs came quickly, and they stayed. People looked at me with the cold curiosity of collectors studying something exotic, as if I were a creature brought back from the edge of the world to be gawked at and explained away. Only Edmund treated me like I belonged, at least, in the beginning. But slowly, the lines began to blur. He insisted I stay indoors, told me the city was cruel, that the people wouldn't understand me. He said he was protecting me, and I wanted to believe him, even as the walls began to close in, even as my reflection grew unfamiliar. When I finally told him I wanted to return home, my voice was shaking, but firm. He simply smiled and said we would have one last dinner, something special, a farewell. I remember how warm the room felt, how sweet the wine was, how his eyes never left mine as he raised his glass and whispered,
"To us."
After that, darkness took everything. I awoke to darkness, not the kind that comes with night, but the kind that sinks into your bones. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't even feel the rhythm of breath in my chest. But I was still present. I could see. Edmund was standing beside me, humming quietly as he brushed my hair, painted my lips, and stitched my eyelids shut with careful, practiced hands. He whispered as he worked, calling me beautiful, calling me his forever. He treated my body like something sacred, and still something no longer mine.